And this would be subject to the council's affirmative action and transferring the property a little bit later tonight. But I would entertain a motion to have this agency ready to accept the property transferred from the city. Moved by Perazo. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman Brucker. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Resolution carries. Any other business to come before the Urban Renewal Agency? Entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Agency stands adjourned. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to call to order the City Council caucus meeting. We have 3 public hearings tonight, and then we'll start with the original consideration. I'd also like to introduce Chad Putnam. Chad is our relatively new deputy clerk, and we're very happy to have you on board with us.
Thank you.
Okay, so if you would read item number 1.
Item number 1 for final consideration, an ordinance adding Chapter 146 of the Code of the City of Schenectady.
This was discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 2.
Item number 2 for original consideration, an ordinance to restore $3,000 to the clerk's fees for service expense.
Also discussed in committee without objection on consent. Number 3.
Item number 3, a resolution calling for public comment concerning a proposed local law amending Chapter 210 of the Administrative Code of the City of Schenectady regarding rental certificates, introduced only with a local law calling for a public hearing on Monday, March 11th, 2013 at 7 p.m. at Council Chambers, Room 209, Schenectady City Hall, 105 J Street, Schenectady, New York.
This was discussed in committee, again, just calling for a public hearing, so without objection on consent. Item number 4.
Item number 4, a resolution approving the leasing of 10 police vehicles.
Also discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 5.
Item number 5, a resolution in support of Assembly Bill A88 and A24 relating to foreclosures.
We have since learned, since we approved this, that there is also a Senate bill. So, Mr. Erickson?
Then I move that we amend the current legislation on the floor to also include S-3655, which is the corresponding Senate bill.
Okay, is there a second? Second by Mrs. Brucker. All in favor? Aye. Okay, and then this will end up being a roll call vote. Okay. Item number 6.
Item number 6, a resolution calling for the City of Schenectady to obtain its fair share of aid from the State of New York.
This was discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 7.
Item number 7, a resolution supporting efforts of the Schenectady City School District to obtain its fair share of school aid from the State of New York.
Also discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 8.
Item number 8, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract between the City of Schenectady and Open Stage Media.
Also discussed in committee. Mr. Iggy?
Can I have a roll call, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Item number 9.
Item number 9, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract extension between the City of Schenectady and Capital Recovery Systems, Incorporated.
Discussed in public safety without objection on consent. Item number 10.
Item number 10, a resolution authorizing the City of Schenectady to settle a claims by the Stadium Golf Course, Incorporated.
Discussed in claims committee without objection on consent. Item number 11.
Item number 11, a resolution authorizing the settlement of a tax certiorari concerning 835 Union Street.
Also discussed in claims without objection on consent. Item number 12.
Item number 12, a resolution authorizing the settlement of a claim by Tisha Sutton.
Also discussed in claims committee without objection on consent. Item number 13.
Item number 13, a resolution authorizing the City of Schenectady to settle a claim by Geico ASO Venelstein Nobles against the city.
Also discussed in claims without objection on consent. Item number 14.
Item number 14, a resolution withdrawing certain properties from a tax foreclosure proceeding.
Also discussed in committee, and we've got copies of all those properties, so without objection on consent. Item number 15.
Item number 15, a resolution authorizing the transfer of certain city-owned properties to the Schenectady Urban Renewal Agency.
This was also discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 16.
Item number 16, a resolution recognizing February as American Heart Month.
This will be taken out of order. Mrs. Brucker will do that. All right. If there's nothing else to come before the City Council caucus, I will declare us adjourned and we'll call the City Council meeting to order. We don't have any clergy, so if we just rise for a moment of silence. Okay, and I'll call on Marva Isaacs to lead us in the pledge. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, and then if the clerk would call the roll.
Ms. Perazzo? Ms. Porterfield? Here. Mr. Erickson? Here. Mr. Riggi? Here. Ms. Brucker? Present. Ms. King?
Present.
Ms. Blanchard is excused.
All right. Okay, we have one out-of-order resolution, so Mrs. Brucker, I'll let you take that, and we'll invite Catherine McCarthy to join her up inside the rail.
Madam President, this is a resolution recognizing February as American Heart Month. And whereas more than 2,150 Americans die of cardiovascular disease each day, approximately one death every 40 seconds. And whereas heart disease claims more lives each year than all forms of cancer combined. And whereas cardiovascular disease is the costliest disease, with direct and indirect costs estimated to be $312.6 billion per year. And whereas the research is clear that there are preventive strategies as well as community-based strategies that can increase survival rates from cardiovascular disease. And whereas making the right choices relating to proper nutrition, physical activity, and other healthy lifestyle choices are essential to living a heart-healthy life. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the month of February 2013 be recognized as American Heart Month in the City of Schenectady, and we call on all citizens to join the City Council and the Mayor in reaffirming our commitment to fighting cardiovascular disease. Madam President, I move the resolution.
All right, is there a second? Ms. Perazzo? Okay, all in favor? Aye. I should also note that the Mayor has a resolution to present as well. So, Mayor?
Actually, no relation. Sometimes people don't take my sarcasm. Again, on behalf of the city, whereas heart disease claims the lives of nearly 500,000 American women each year. In fact, it's the #1 killer of women. But since it has always been considered an older man's disease, women are not paying attention to the statistics. Then in 2003, the American Heart Association, along with the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, formed the National Wear Red Day to get the word out of this vitally important issue. Every year since, on the first Friday in February, millions of people come together to wear red, committing and taking action to fight this fatal disease. And whereas in 2004, the American Heart Association also created Go Red for Women, a poignant, passionate, and shared initiative designed to give power to women, to have them take charge of their own heart health, to unite collectively to try and eliminate heart disease. It challenges women to use the tools that Go Red for Women provides, to understand their risk for heart disease and to make a start to lessen their personal risk. And whereas Go Red for Women fundraising monies allows the American Heart Association to help women by increasing their understanding of their threat of getting heart disease and offering learning programs supporting research to obtain scientific data about heart health. Through this effort, scientific research is turned into resources that healthcare providers and decision makers can utilize to help the cause. Healthcare providers and scientific guidelines receive the newest treatments and strategies customized to women's individual risk. Whereas the tremendous strides that have been made in the fight against women's heart disease since the first National Wear Red Day 10 years ago include, but not limited to, 21% less women are dying from heart disease, 23% more women are aware that this is their number one health hazard, the publishing of women-specific guidelines for the prevention and treatment of gender-specific results, establishing differences in symptoms in response to medication, and legislation to help gender disparities. Now, therefore, I, Gary McCarthy, Mayor of the City of Schenectady, do hereby proclaim February 2013 as American Heart Association Month in the City of Schenectady. And the battle is not over. And hundreds of thousands of women still die each year from heart disease. So I ask that you join with us in this fight to educate women and men and continue to combat heart disease. And on behalf of the city, we're proud to present these certificates and proclamations to you, and appreciate all the efforts that you do. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor and City Council members, thank you so much. Heart disease does kill someone almost every 40 seconds, and many people didn't know that women were at risk, so I feel that I always need to share a few symptoms. Anyone could have the crushing chest pain that we think of with heart disease, but women might also experience indigestion, shoulder pain, and we've recently learned a feeling of doom. And no doctor would ever laugh if you called them to say, I think I might be having a heart attack. So please do that. I'd also like to thank the City of Schenectady for declaring this American Heart Month and for lighting this beautiful building red. It's a really tangible reminder to people that heart disease is a real threat. The American Heart Association has always been honored by the support that it receives from businesses in the City of Schenectady, and the light that you have shown on your building reflects that tremendous commitment from the city and the community. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, we have 3 public hearings tonight. If the clerk would read the first one.
Number 1, public hearing, amending Chapter 138 of the Administrative Code of the City of Schenectady regarding fence permits.
I have no one signed up to speak at that public hearing, so I'll declare that public hearing closed. Number 2.
Item number 2, public hearing, amending Chapter 228 of the Administrative Code of the City of Schenectady regarding paving permits.
Again, I have no one signed up for this public hearing, so I'm going to declare that one closed. And number 3.
Item number 3, public hearing, amending the zoning ordinance to include provisions for medical hospitality houses.
All right, I have one person signed up, and that's Tony Bonhomme.
Tony Bonhomme, Bellevue. To me, this is something that should be done. I mean, people that have sick family in hospitals and whatnot need a place to stay. And as I mentioned before, the last time that this was brought up, that it failed, I had a friend of mine that brought a family out of town. I don't remember where it was, but he said he went to a Ronald McDonald house, he said, and these people were put up free of charge, fed, and everything. So something like this has to be done in the city, and I think it should go through. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, I have no one else signed up for that public hearing, so I'll declare that public hearing closed. And now we'll move on to the approval of the minutes. Have a motion to approve the minutes? Okay, Mrs. Brucker, second by Mrs. Porterfield. All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you. Communications and petitions.
Communications presented to the City Council for Monday, February 25th, 2013. Official, from the Mayor, a list of appointments dated Monday, February 25th, 2013. General, letter received from the Schenectady County Council of Veterans Organizations on February 15th, 2013, extending their gratitude to the Mayor and City Council for the receipt of a rental check. Petitions, there are none.
Okay, thank you. Committee reports. Mr. Erickson.
Thank you, Madam President. We have two things I wanted to talk about tonight. One is on our agenda, item number 7. A couple weeks ago, we had the superintendent of schools in giving us an update on the school funding, and since then, a lot of people said, what are we supposed to do? What can we do? I think everyone realizes that the shortfall in school funding is significant enough that it affects all our tax rates so significantly. So on Thursday, this Thursday, February 28th at 6:30 at Mount Pleasant Middle School Library, there's a information and advocacy night where there'll be some people on hand to kind of advise you on how you can best communicate with your elected leaders at the state level to say, we want our fair share of funding. And it's a good lesson really for anything, because it applies to anything you want to write to your legislators about. So if you've ever complained that you're not happy with what your government's doing, this would be the event you want to go to. They will tell you how to communicate with your elected leaders, and very applicable to just about anything. So I think it's a good event to attend. Secondly, this weekend, Sunday, we had an open house here at City Hall as part of the ongoing effort for the Homes program. We had an update from KeyBank and a new partner coming in from Prospect, Joel Bezoin and Kurt Andres. They're here tonight, and I wanted to give them the opportunity to kind of update us, for those who weren't there on Sunday, of what their program is and what they're offering.
That's
so,
good.
Guys, if you'd like to come around and grab the microphone on this side. Through the gate. Yes, thank you.
Try to face this way.
Ooh, this way.
Sure.
Cameras are on this side.
Good deal. My name is Joel Bezoin. I'm a vice president and the district sales manager for KeyBank Mortgage here in the Capital Region. KeyBank has been a participant in the Homes Initiative since day one. We've had an incredible amount of success within this initiative. Just recently, we closed on over our 100th transaction within this program, and we're delighted to still be a partner with that being said. Just recently, we announced that we will be offering grant financing to the city of Schenectady starting March 1st. The grants will be available to our home buyers on a first-come, first-served basis. The grants will be available up to $5,000 for each potential home buyer. We encourage the clients to visit any of our KeyBank locations and obtain a pre-approval in conjunction with their home application to obtain the financing through Key. The grants are available up to $5,000. There's a prepayment clause up to 5 years, but it's prorated over that time period. So any home buyer that's looking to purchase a home, they can obtain the pre-approval from Key and secure a grant with that home purchase. The grant can be utilized towards down payment or closing costs, and the grant is secured by a contract to purchase. So if a client is pre-approved through Key, their best bet is to have a contract to purchase that property. Then we physically secure the grant to that property. So as long as that transaction closes, that grant is released to that homeowner for the property. Last year, just to give you a total, we had roughly about $28,000 in grants that we released to the city of Schenectady for properties here. And this year, we have a stronger commitment from the Federal Home Loan Bank of Cincinnati. These are federal funds that we utilize. And we're looking to secure as many as possible for the city and the residents here. With that being said, we brought an additional lender to the Homes Initiative. We brought Prospect Lending. They're the second largest 203K lender in America. With that being said, the 203K loan is a great product. It's utilized for renovation, for purchase mortgages. So with that being said, I'm going to give the floor to Kurt Andres.
Thank you. A couple things just for you guys to take a look at.
Sure.
My name is Kurt Endress, branch manager for Prospect Lending. We are a independent mortgage bank with about roughly 110 offices across the country. We've been brought into the Homes program to provide a certain type of financing, again called the FHA 203K renovation loan. What this loan allows a homeowner to do, or I should say a home buyer to do, is purchase the home and also include the cost of renovations or repairs within that purchase loan. As an example, if someone is purchasing one of these homes for maybe a $100,000 sale price and it needs maybe $25,000 of repairs, we take that total and we lend on the total dollar amount. The client has to put down 3.5% for a down payment, and they can include the closing costs within the purchase price. So we're very excited to be a part of the Homes program. It was just announced yesterday as an official partner, and we're looking forward to helping the city move the inventory of homes that you have. And it's one of the products that we specialize in, we have a focus on, and a dedicated team to handle. It's a little more complex than a standard mortgage transaction, but we have a appetite for it, and we're looking forward to partnering with the city and helping out where we can.
Great. Thank you very much for coming tonight, and we're happy to have you on board. Okay.
And just additionally, I think it's great. It seems like we're always bringing in new partners and people participating with this Homes project. One of the bits of information I thought was pretty interesting yesterday, I think it was 53 is the number of homes that have been put under contract so far this year in the city of Schenectady. It's about one a day. And we're not talking about peak home sale times, right? We're talking January and February when people really aren't thinking about spending money on homes or dealing with other things. So I think it's telling that we've really doing pretty well in terms of putting houses under contract in the city with the program. So I think it was good information. It was kind of shocking. I wasn't expecting a number so high. So thank you.
Good, thank you. Any other committee reports? No? Okay. If not, then we'll move to privilege of the floor related to the legislative agenda. I have two people who've signed up for that. P.D. Voris.
First, I wanted to speak about the American Heart Month. I had my first heart attack in 1996. Took me a long time. When the Girl Scouts held a run out to the canal, and I knew I had a bunch of people with me, I went on that run, and sure felt good. And I watched the clock too. So anyway, I wanted to say thank you to their efforts. The other thing I wanted to talk about is Mr. Spring's visit here. I think I really value the information he brought to us. It was amazing. But I'm more interested now in the school board than I ever have been before because of the results of the election. I really feel like with those that won, spread a concept, a sick concept that exists around here for years and it'll never end, was that General Electric was going to step in somehow with some pocket full of money to give to the school or some kind of program or whatever. But there exists around here the feeling that General Electric's going to take care of everything. So I've been watching that because I didn't appreciate the results. Right now, I think that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary McLean.
Good evening. My name is Mary McLean. I live in the city. Legislative item number 8 calls for the execution for a new contract between the City of Schenectady and Open Stage Media. I would suggest before the city enters into a new contract with OSM, Council makes certain that the city will receive a good product, because it is not good now. The programming has not been good since the project was taken from Mr. Harding in November of 2011. I have raised concerns at least 10 times regarding one thing or another. Initially, I called Mr. Philip Morris. He told me he was waiting for new equipment to arrive. On another occasion, I went to see him regarding Open Stage Media. He was gracious enough to speak with me even though I hadn't made an appointment. Another time I called Miss Perazzo. She said we can do both, referring to the garbage schedule that was flashing on the screen. No, you can't, because double messages were infringing on the speaker's 3 minutes. I called Barbara Blanchard. The camera man was filming the backs of the presenters who spoke at committee meetings. Also, programming did not match the printed schedule. The schedule read that there was a 2 a.m. replay of city council meetings. I turned it on one morning. There was nothing. On another occasion, there were balloons flying across the screen when speakers were at the lectern. Mr. Harding never would have done something like that. He is too much of a gentleman. I know from my college courses that everything that goes on the screen is done deliberately. Taping needs to be addressed. The cameraman pulls the camera away from the lectern. It looks like the speakers are halfway across the room. The sound goes with it. Single side angles look like they are taped from the hallway. I could go on and on. One more thing, the amplifiers don't always work. Please invest in new ones. If the city is going to pay for programming, they should insist on a good product. Thank you.
Thank you. Right, I have no one else signed up to speak on the legislative agenda, so we will move then to approval of the consent agenda. I have a motion. Okay, Ms. Perazzo, is there a second? Okay, Mr. Erickson, all in favor? Aye. And we have 2 items on roll call votes. If the clerk would read the first one, it's item number 5.
Item number 5, a resolution in support of Assembly Bill A88 and A824 relating to foreclosures.
Yep. And also that included the Senate Bill S3655. So, all right, would you call the roll?
Ms. Perazzo? Aye. Ms. Porterfield?
Aye.
Mr. Erickson?
Aye.
Mr. Riggi?
Aye.
Ms. Brucker?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Aye. So that passes. And then the second roll call was item number 8. Read it.
Item number 8, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract between the City of Schenectady and Open Stage Media.
Does anyone want to speak first, or do you want to just wait till we call your name? Okay, we'll call the roll.
Ms. Perazzo? Ms. Porterfield?
Aye.
Mr. Erickson?
Aye.
Mr. Riggi?
Yes, thank you. I have some concerns about this. Some things were brought to my attention, and again, we're going to execute a contract between the city and Open Stage Media, but we don't have I don't see the contract. You know, I wouldn't sign a contract to buy a car and say okay to it unless I saw the contract, but that's one thing about it. The other thing, which I talked to Mr. Polster about, is Time Warner with the agreement. A certain amount of money comes out of everybody's cable bill, and I think around $100,000 goes to Open Stage Media a year. So I'm really concerned. I would like to see that contract and get a copy of that contract. I tried today, but I kind of got dead-ended. Nobody's fault. It was kind of late when I got this information that I realized I needed. But I think maybe in that contract, I think it probably states, from what I've been told, that that includes the broadcasting of the meeting. So I'm a little confused with it. Because I'm confused and because I don't see the contract, I can't make a good conscious decision on this. So I am going to vote no, because there's just too many open ends on my end with this. So thank you.
Okay.
Ms. Brucker? Ms. King?
I vote aye also, so that this motion does pass then with 4 votes. All right, now we'll move on to privilege of the floor regarding city business. I have about 10 people signed up to speak. Donnie Birch.
All right, kudos, Mr. Riggy. I do appreciate, some sort of vigilance like that, because but you're just coming into the game. You know the trend around here. You have no idea what you're signing or what you're getting yourself into until, the flames are at your door. Like, basically, I do got to say, the same thing goes for policy around here. I was talking to Miss Alakwa, the chief clerk at the city court, and I'm like trying to like just basically just put my finger on some sort of policy around here that the cops and the courts operate by, and she's telling me, no, they're not written down. They're just basically just known. It's practice. And I'm like, oh, they're not written down? I got a recording in my code of it, because I just record all you guys. I swear I don't even know where to start with a lot of this stuff. And like, a lot of you guys are likable people and stuff, and I could find things to bicker about anybody about, but here's the thing, like, really, in the position that you guys are in, I mean, really, like take heed to some of the things that people say. And I don't know what was really like going through your mind when you're talking about getting rid of the Civilian Police Review Board, or just introducing some sort of idea to possibly abolish it or something. Like, I really don't want to use this as a platform, but let's all take a minute to remember the police officer who blew his head off in the locker room because he was trying to talk about problems that were going on in the department. He was getting, like, basically, and I'm sorry to the family for this, but I don't want the man to just go in vain and have nobody really take heed to how that all transpired. The man was basically pestered to death for trying to come out against some colleagues that did some wrongdoings. No oversight was really ever effective, or nothing happened, and the guy got blackballed and just harassed to the point where, just things happen. So let's not forget that, all right? And I'm telling you, this oversight thing is a real issue, and when I look at everything, I'm just like, man, like McCarthy, you're not a leader at all. There's a difference between leading somebody and running them. You were running people. You were running the show here. You're conditioned by the police department and your inter-office politics with everybody, and you're real cliquey and stuff. I'm telling you, I got ideas to produce revenue in this city. I could debate you drunk. I could literally drink a bottle of tequila and I'll debate you right under the table. I'm really going to run against you for mayor, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to win it. And it sounds like a grandiose delusion right now, but it's going to be undeniable, because I'm really going to sit down. I'm going to quit drinking myself. I dumped my girlfriend. Like, I'm not even playing, like, because I'm just watching this beautiful mansion of America just fall apart and become dilapidated because the spoiled brats that inherited this country aren't doing nothing to watch you guys. I'm telling you, we need to track everything these guys do. We need invoices for every dime, every penny that's spent. I want projected ideas of where you think this money's going to go, what your intentions are. I want to see things. We need to develop a civilian intelligence agency, plain and simple. I'm telling you right now, I want to be able to type in a badge number and get a live stream fed via internet to see what these cops are doing. I want to see what's going on. I want to see where this money's going. And I'm telling you, I'm a leader. You're not a leader. I grew up in these streets. I came up from the bottom. I dealt with psychotic people. And, I've learned to become a social chameleon. But the thing is, I know I'm summarizing right now, Ms. King. This is very important. I learned that, you can't always just be appealing to certain demographics. You need to really,
Okay, Mr. Birch, your time is up, so thank you very much.
You know what? I'm getting some petitions going. I'm coming out with a newsletter, and I'm going to light this place up.
Jason Plank.
City Council, President, City Council, Mayor. Wanted to wish Brian Wright his retirement and good luck. We've Also, too, is that opens the door that the City Council needs to take a look at its affirmative action, needs to take a look at some of the Human Rights Commission's policies, and to see if we can be able to make some change. I had asked Council President King to bring up the issue of the affirmative action manager's contract because it was up the end of December, and it was going to be extended for another 6 months, and it was not brought up. We need to discuss how the policy procedures of how that office is being run, and also, too, is to check and see, is 20 hours, is that going to be enough that we need? Do we need more than 20 hours? Also, too, is look at the Erie Boulevard. The affirmative action contract failed, the manager office on the Erie Boulevard. We've got a project of building a nursing home. That's failed. Where are the jobs? So we've got a couple things. Every April 1st, you're supposed to have a correct accountability of all the pilot programs. Where's that going to happen? What kind of direction are we going to go? So there's a couple of things that we need to take a look at that needs to be brought forward. And we need to find what direction we're going to come from. Because we've got to come up with how to produce jobs. Because if you want to lower the crime rate, you got to be able to give somebody a job. If you want to be able to help somebody who get a home, you've got to get them a job. I mean, they're not going to make it on $10 an hour to be able to qualify for a home. We've got to get the home ownership rate up. Also, too, the mayor's State of the State address brought out one issue. As a high-security lock dealer and an alarm installer, 20 years ago when I was in Las Vegas, both the city and the county came out with a policy of what it was is that they were not going to respond to an alarm calls. And what I had to do is I had to have a performance bond. I had to provide a performance bond to both the city and the county for my license. And I also had to hire a private security company to actually go on the alarm calls. And at any point in time, and what that did is that reduced the cost both to the city and the county of reducing to false alarms. So I would strongly suggest to take a look at the city of Las Vegas and Clark County both on the business licensing of alarms. I would also highly contact the Alarm Monitoring Association, and they handle all the alarm monitoring companies throughout the entire country. And then get their responses, because there are many other communities throughout the country that happened about the mid-90s, came out with these types of policies. And also, too, is when you take a look at $1 million, that represents nearly almost 3% property tax, was just going to false alarms. So, I mean, we need to take a look at that. I mean, that could be a 3% property tax decrease if we could just be able to solve that one issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin Shares.
How you doing, Councilman and Mayor? I live in Schenectady. Over on Strong Street is a Mason Hall. It's loaded with garbage. You said you guys are going to tear it down because they didn't have a liquor license. I've been seeing a lot of garbage on Hamilton Hill like crazy. The Mason Hall, right across the street from Washington Irving, a blue house right across the street from the school. They dump them back there. And another thing, you're trying to talk about get a permit for putting fences up. How much more permits do we have to get in Schenectady to do anything? We have to get a permit to call anyone? People can't afford all this stuff, what's going on in Schenectady. You have to look at that, too. A lot of people's on a budget. So the budget's hurting a lot of people's pockets out here. And you need to look at, what you can do with us to help us out. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Lori Robinson.
Good evening. I just want to say that the jobs here in Schenectady, it's very hard to get. You got to go online now. People are not educated enough to go online and search for jobs. Some people really need to get those basic needs met in order to go online. I don't know if there's a person here directed in Schenectady that can handle these issues. You go to Washington Irving, they put you on a waiting list for 3 weeks, 4 weeks, don't get back to you. I don't know what is going on in the city, but it saddens me to see people homeless and people can't afford jobs and take care of their families. I thought maybe a good business incentive would be to maybe open up a price right in Hamilton Hill area, to have people, instead of having to walk all the way up there or to take a bus up there, be able to have it right there in their community. Something that will give them some kind of jobs and motivation to want to get like a home or something, to better their communities, because we do like our community, but we just can't afford the necessary things to take care of our community. So that's just a suggestion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Tony Bonhomme.
Tony Bonhomme, Bellevue. Just a couple of things, Mr. McCarthy, with the assessor. I'm all for living in the city. But I mean, if we're going to chastise one person for not living in the city and you're letting other people do it, I think she's doing one heck of a job. You can get to her, you can talk to her, not like other assessors we had. To my opinion, she's doing a good job. And on this deal with the fire department, with false alarms costing so much money, the editorial in the paper the other day had the same thing that I was saying. They're talking about money that you have to pay the firemen to go out on false alarms. If they're there, you're not paying them any extra to go out on a false alarm or sitting in the firehouse. If you have to bring someone in on overtime for it, that's different. But I think we should get these figures straightened out a little. And another thing is, for all the people, for the tax-exempt people, it's got to be in by the 1st of March. Veterans, senior exempt. I hope I didn't forget anyone, but the organizations, who else did I forget? I think I got everyone. So get it in before the 1st of, your papers in before the 1st of March. Thank you.
Thank you. Good reminder. Marianne Rasciuto.
Mayor, Council President, Council members, I'm here. I wanted to bring up the subject of the dog census. I think that Chuck Thorne has an excellent idea. But with the state of the city and the conditions of the finances, I think that it could be done in a more efficient way rather than spending the $22,000. Some thoughts that I have is maybe for 6 months or a year, we could ask the police and the firemen to include in their reports if they had seen dogs in the houses that they have gone to. If so, they can send their information to the city clerk and the clerk can follow up on it. This also could be done with the building inspectors. They too are required to write up reports and could pass the information on to the city clerk if they see dogs. Another idea is to reach out to the neighborhood associations and ask that they turn in a report with the names of houses that have dogs. I know that in our neighborhood, I am sure that we know where the dogs are living. Lastly, we should ask the dog catcher to report any dogs not licensed, but I think that this may be done already. And if we need to hire someone, what about the SPCA? They are a not-for-profit organization who knows how to handle situations where dogs are involved. We could probably give them a donation for doing this work. We need to start thinking outside the box and stop spending money. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate people when you come down here with suggestions for us. That's a good thing. All right, P.D. Voris.
I want to speak about the magistrate that was here the other week and told us that he has standing room only, and I know that for a fact, and that within the next couple of years it's going to double what's happening there now. So I think everybody should take umbrage about that situation. There were 2 years in a row when the roof had to be plugged for leaks. The building's in distress. 2 magistrates have been added to it that need office space and clerks or whatever, all they need. And nothing's happening around here positive with the police. It really isn't. But when it comes to them voicing an opinion around here, everybody says they're doing a great job. Well, if it's standing room only, and, you know, they're not doing a great job, but they keep saying that because you're going to have to make a choice sooner or later, a new courtroom or a new police station. So if you want to, well, I won't add my snide remark. I'm very concerned there if y'all think that taxes are going down. It's not happening. And Mr. Gilly, whatever his name is at Metroplex, made a remark about the Hunter plan being a failure, and indeed it was. They filled in downspace at the Civic Center and brought it up and made it look like a stage and had waterfall. Yeah, it was a failure. But I want you to know they asked public opinion on the Hunter plan, and I went in there and I spoke to the architect, and I told him that what you need to do, since you're getting no help from Amtrak, is to build a frame on either side of the bridge, completely independent of Amtrak. And that is exactly what was done. It is one of the most photographed items on your brochure, other than the Pizza King had the best looking display. But anyway, the Hunter plan was a positive for me, and I never went around boasting about it, but there it is. So, and that's it.
Okay, thank you.
I never got to read it.
Joy Hall.
Well, I tell you, we got a big problem. We got cars turning when the arrow's not on, and people are going around cars just to beat the traffic, and that's not right. Something's going to happen if the signs are not put up where these arrows are. Do not turn unless the arrow is on. And they need to fix up a lot of sidewalks, and people need to walk on the sidewalk, not out in the road. Somebody's going to get hit. We don't need that either. We need to fix that. And fix these side streets where cars are parked on both sides of these small streets. It's a safety hazard, especially over by the museum. You could, a fire truck, ambulance, wouldn't be able to get through. We don't need that to happen. So we need to fix a place for people to park when they go to the museum, and not to be parking on the not Terrace Heights Street and around that way. Because you got a lot of senior citizens over that way. And Millard Street, too, the same thing. We got to stop this people speeding from Union Street, end of Union Street all the way down Millard Street and Broadway. We got to put up walk lights or something on Broadway for these senior citizens before something does happen. We don't need nobody to get hurt. We got to go by stricter rules. We got to do something fast to get it done. Because every boulevard the same way. Too much speeding is going on. Everything is going on. Because I see it every day. And I'm afraid somebody's going to get hurt. I don't want that. We need to work on this. That's it.
Okay. Thank you. Mary McLean.
There were approximately 14 items on the legislative agenda for the February 11th City Council meeting. It is impossible for anyone to address even a fraction of that many items in just 3 minutes. I wanted to speak to the 2013 budget reappropriations item, but I knew that I would have run out of time. So I am going to do it tonight and couple the item with the issue of residency. Residency has a component to it. People who live in Schenectady are your constituents. How will council treat them? Like stepchildren? Cinderellas? Different strokes for different folks approach? That is what you did with your reappropriations vote on February the 11th. You took money from one constituent and gave it to another. The new finance commissioner received a bonus and the same salary as the one who left after years of experiences working for the city. The bonus was a payback for loss of sick time, which she accrued in another city for a different employer, and Schenectady taxpayers footed the bill. Her high salary did not take into account that she must train to learn Schenectady's complex financial system. On the other hand, council took away $8,649 from the new junior accountant's salary, a kid fresh out of college and probably in debt with student loans. Do you know what you did to his earning power by taking away that much money from his budgeted salary? You have delayed the good he did for himself for earning a 4-year college degree. How many years is it going to take for him to make up that loss? 3 years, 4 years, 6 years? I have been passed over 4 times. For 4 of you who sit in those seats, I will never accept this kind of representation for myself. And anyone who does, Miss Brucker, stop it, is hurting the rest of us. Thank you.
Thank you. Eunice Chaffee.
Good evening, Mayor and
You're fine.
Ms. King and the Deputy Clerk and our lawyer and everyone on the council. 2 weeks ago when Reverend Phil Grigsby spoke about the review board and Miss Connie Richardson spoke on behalf of the review board, it was too cold for me to come that night. So I'm here tonight, and I want to give everybody on the council that voted for lowering the number of members on the Schenectady Civilian Police Review Board from 11 to 9. Now, hopefully, this will help the board to meet its quorum so that members can carry on with their business meeting. The new Civilian Police Review Board was adopted way back in June 2002. But before that, a good 2 years before that, citizens rallied for this board and had many meetings to establish bylaws and legislations under Mayor Dzierżynski, and I attended some of those meetings, and it was very hard to pull everything together, but it did get done. And the board really was doing quite well until a few months ago when some members had to leave and new ones were not replaced. I really feel that Schenectady should have a police review board like Albany does. Without one, circumstances could really slip backward, and then the city could be sued for various reasons, as it was before the year 2002. I urge the city council members, especially the 3 on the Public Safety Committee, to contact the organizations to speed up with their appointment, plus an alternative. Also, I urge the mayor to choose his appointment. The council could act as an advisory committee once in a while, since they did not okay an advisory committee. For example, they could help the board arrange a program giving all the facts about the board on OSM. The clerk should announce the upcoming meeting, which is the second Wednesday of every month. And when I'm not here, I do listen to this on OSM, and I don't hear anyone, not even from the board, making an announcement.
Ms. Chaffee, I need you to summarize.
Okay. Just a couple of things that were very lacking before. If this board should come about, and I hope it does, if no one on the board has a report, a quarterly report, then someone on the council really ought to remind the chairperson that a report is due. If the quarterly reports come in, then the council's going to know what's going on with the board. Okay. But if there's no quarterly report, they're not going to know.
Okay, Ms. Chaffee, your time is up.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, I have no one else signed up to speak on city business, and who did I? Pardon? Jonathan. Oh, he didn't. Okay, Jonathan. Okay.
Good evening. I'm Jonathan Finn, is resident of Schenectady, and firstly I want to thank the city, thank the mayor, and for all that we have in the city and everything as well. There are a lot of services that for individuals, and I hope that through the different concerns that are brought to your attention through the council, that we can find some kind of resolution to address those concerns. I'm just up here today coming from a meeting from the Habitat for Humanity as a volunteer, where we are having I wanted to give note on a bowl to build that we are going to be having this coming April 14th, in which we're asking if you can register for the event at our website at www.schenectadyhabitat.org, where we're asking groups, families, and individuals that can help come out and raise monies for this bowling event to build 2 homes in Schenectady County. The event, again, you can register at the website at www.bowlathon.net. You can go to the Schenectady County Habitat for Humanity, and on there you'll find a link that you can register for the bowling event and raise funds. Apologize for stuttering when I got up here. I just ad-libbed, so thank you.
That's fine. Thank you very much. All right, so now I will declare this section of the meeting closed, and we'll move to miscellaneous business of the council. Mr. Riggi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's been a question. There was a letter to the editor yesterday about estate trusts and the income that's involved for an aged exemption and a senior enhanced exemption. I talked with the assessor today, and it seems like there's still some confusion with this and how it's being defined. So I urge anyone who is concerned about this to call the assessor's office so this can be straightened out, because there's one opinion that's saying the person that's involved in the estate trust, their income has to be included too, but the state is saying it doesn't. So there needs to be some clarification with this, and it's I don't know where this is going to go, but I think we need to have this clarified once and for all. But when I talked to the assessor today, she said to have anyone who's concerned to call the office. But I would like also our law department maybe to look into this a little further so we can get a real clarification on what's what. If you would speak to that, Mr. Polster.
The law is clear. If somebody has conveyed their property and yet retained a life estate, and if they are otherwise eligible for the senior exemption, so long as they have or hold the life estate, they are eligible for the STAR exemption and the senior age exemption.
So the income of the person that's involved, with like a child,
does not come into play.
Well, then I think we have to have a talk with the assessor's office and see who's, because people for the last couple of years have been asked to include that.
I heard about the confusion. I want to say about 3:30 or so today, and I will be speaking to the assessor tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. That's good for a lot of people to know. And again, as Tony Bonone brought up, you have until March 1st to get all your paperwork in for the next year. Just one other quick note. Our resident barber in Bellevue, Norm Koopman, took a tumble, and he took over for his father, Paul, who was a barber in Bellevue forever, from when I was a little boy. Took a tumble, broke his leg, so he's going to be out of action for a while, but I'd like to wish him all the best and a speedy recovery, because he's going to be missed. I'm going to miss him, I know that. So, Norm, get well soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ms. Porterfield.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to let folks know again that the Hamilton Hill Neighborhood Association will be having a community awards dinner on March 23rd at 5:30 p.m. at the Proctor's Theater, and we'll be recognizing people who have helped to build up the community. So the tickets are a quite reasonable $15. So if you'd like one, you can contact Marva Isaacs, who is the president of the association, and I have tickets as well. Additionally, I just want to remind folks about You Matter Schenectady, which had their kickoff this week, and that there will be surveyors coming to your home to ask you questions regarding health, but they're not invasive questions. There was an article in the paper actually late last week, and we just encourage folks to answer the survey because it will be helpful in determining the health needs of the community, of the city of Schenectady. It's the entire city. So they will be surveying every weekend for the next 12 weeks, well, 11 at this point. So you'll see them. They'll be wearing white T-shirts that say, You Matter Schenectady. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? No. If not, okay, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam President. Again, in follow-up to Councilmember Porterfield's comments, that if people do have somebody knock at their door, it is very valuable that they take the 20 or 30 minutes that it takes to fill out that survey. And while a lot of the questions do deal with health, there are also environmental issues, housing issues that will give us a lot of empirical data for down the road to help allocate the resources that we do through the city and then other community groups so that they are best utilized by the residents of the city. Again, on Resolution 8, Mr. Riggi, that was, again, dealing solely with the payment for the televising of the meetings here, the committee meetings, and the other broadcasts that are done from City Hall. The franchise agreement does not cover that. It designates that money goes to Proctor's and it's marketed through Open Stage Media. Again, they've really done an impressive job since they've had that. It went from one station. We now have in Schenectady 3 public access stations. There's the public access station, You have the education station, which is utilized by the school districts. And then you have the government access channel. And, you know, it used to be that just these meetings were broadcast. We now have our committee meetings are broadcast live, which is really unique in terms of local government. And we have the county legislature, Metroplex, other governmental agencies broadcast their meetings so that people really have the opportunity to see what happens in government and kind of the routine things that are done that a lot of times just aren't newsworthy. So that it's, I think we're fortunate to have that and truly lucky to have the leadership at Proctor's that has made that part of you know, the arts and entertainment district in this community. I want to thank people who came out this weekend for our open house. We try and do that once a month to sell Schenectady, talk about the housing opportunities here. There are a lot of good deals, as Mr. Erickson pointed out. A surprising number of houses that are under contract since the first of the year, and it's an ongoing process. It's a multi-year undertaking. The deterioration of the neighborhoods did not happen overnight. We're not going to turn it around overnight, but just working together in a systematic approach that we will achieve long-term results that will make this community again a place where everybody wants to live and bring it back to the recognition that it once had. Thank you, Madam President.
Okay. At this point, then, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Okay, Mr. Erickson, seconded by Ms. Perazzo. All in favor? Aye. Okay, we are adjourned. You did well.